on Zoom. Don't have to be absolutely perfect or put up a performance, but do, all of you who normally log in on Sunday, on chanting days, you also take up the chanting. It will really help you a lot. Right, time for our satsang. And two beautiful shlokas today. Once again, of course, every shloka of the Gita is beautiful, but some I find that they are very practical and applicable to all of us in our sadhana, in our journey. So today I'm taking up 59 and 60. Let's read 59 first. Yadahankaramashritya na yotsya iti manyase mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshyati. If, taking your stand on egotism, you think, I will not fight, vain is this resolve of yours. Your nature will drive you to the act. Now, if you remember last Thursday when we did shlok number 58, Bhagwan gave a warning to Arjun, right? He said, if you don't heed the teachings of the Shastras, if you don't do your dharma, vinangshati, you will be lost. You will be destroyed. For what reason? Because of ahankaran. You remember that? Because of ego, you will be lost if you do not heed the teachings of the Gita or whatever teachings of all the Shastras. So in this shlok again, he is, in every shloka that we have been doing in the last 10 shlokas, Bhagwan always, the first line of every shloka, he repeats the teaching of the previous shloka, giving us a nice chain of thoughts. So here also he's repeating the same thing, that if you say that you are not going to fight because of you think you're so grand or because of your ego, then you will be destroyed. So immediately we are thinking that what is Bhagwan talking about? So we go back and we think, what is this ego that Bhagwan is talking about? And we remember Adhyay 1. Bhagwan is not speaking anything in Adhyay 1. But Arjun says that I am I follow dharma. And all this action that you are telling me to do, fighting this war, it will create so much of adharma. So he talked about the citizens, he talked about the women, he talked about so many things. And pompously he said, almost pompously, that I cannot fight this war because all this vinash, all this destruction will happen in society and everything will get destroyed. So we also, on a very superficial understanding of Gita, we would agree with Arjun, right? We would say he's right. I mean, all this war is violence. And how come Bhagwan Krishna is urging him to fight the war? And surely this cannot be called ego. Why? Where is the ego involved? So we need a deeper understanding of the Gita. And when you understand it deeper, you will understand the meaning of the word egotism or meaning of the word ahankar. And that is what Bhagwan is referring to when he says that you have resolved not to fight this war, ahankaran, because of your ego. So in layman's terms, ego means arrogance, pride, thinking too much of yourself, that kind of a connotation to the word ego, but not in Vedant. In Vedant, ahankar is made up of aham and kar. Aham is I, and kar is to do. So we have a concept in our mind out of our ignorance, because of our avidya. We have this idea in our mind that I am the doer of all my actions. And what do we actually mean by this word I? By this word I, we mean this body, we mean the mind, we mean the intellect. And I, the body, I, the mind, I, the intellect, am doing all this great work. I am the karta, I am the doer, and therefore I should also be the enjoyer of the fruits of my action. So this word ahankar, I the doer, I am the doer, I the body, mind, intellect am the doer, raises karta bhav, raises bhokta bhav, and that is the cause of our bondage in sansar. So in this context, if you'll remember, Arjun also is refusing to fight the war. He is also seeing himself as a body who is destroying his family, who is destroying his friends, his relatives. He is thinking all this out of his limited knowledge, out of his limited identity as a BMI, body, mind, intellect entity. And this body, mind, intellect entity is attached to his friends, attached to his family, attached to his relatives. And this identity is preventing him from freely following the teachings of the Shastras. And this little limited identity is called ego. Ego is nothing to do with pride. Ego is nothing to do with being selfish. Ego is nothing to do with thinking too much of yourself, being arrogant. Ego means having a concept of a very limited self, which is not our true self, right? So therefore, here Bhagwan is drawing Arjun's attention to his limited knowledge, drawing Arjun's attention to the fact that he has forgotten all the gyan that he may have learnt in his Gurukul, and he is forgetting his true identity, and he is now identifying himself with this very limited concept of body, mind, and intellect, and this is confusing him. It is making him fearful. It is making him hesitant to do his Kshatriya dharma. And that is what Bhagwan means by the word in this shloka, Yada Hankara Mashritya. You are taking refuge of your false identity, of your limited concept of yourself. This is the first warning that Bhagwan is giving him. Now, Bhagwan gives him a second warning in this very shloka. What does he say? He says, let's read it. Mithyaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshyati. Bhagwan says, you have taken this big resolve, right? But this big resolve that you have taken, your very nature, your svabhav, your prakriti is going to drive you to do this very act that you resolve not to do. What was Arjun's resolve? Na yotsya. Bhagwan mentions it in this shloka, but if you go to chapter 2 and see shloka 9, he has said the very same words. Na yotsya. I cannot fight this war. That was Arjun's declaration in Adhyay 2. Bhagwan is reminding him of this resolve in Adhyay 18. Now see, Arjun is born Kshatriya. He has the gunas of a Kshatriya, meaning of a warrior. That means there is a preponderance of Rajogun in his mental makeup, right? In his personality. Now, this Rajogun, which is there, you cannot just suddenly make it disappear. Just suddenly in the battlefield. Now, the Rajogun is brought him to the battlefield, and suddenly in the middle of the battle or in the beginning of the battle, rather, where will this Rajogun suddenly go away? He cannot suppress your Rajogun for a long time, right? That is his nature. This is what he has been brought up to do. His Prakriti has brought him to be engaged in battle. He is born with Rajogun in a Kshatriya Varna to engage in battle and to protect Dharma. This is a war of Dharma. It's not a war of violence to snatch somebody's kingdom. It is a war of Dharma. Therefore, Arjun must do his duty and engage in battle. This is what from childhood he has been nurtured to do. He has been groomed to be a warrior. Even the Devtas have blessed him with powers. He has done tapasya to win these vardhans from the Devtas. Bhagwan Shiva has even given him one astra, Pashupat Astra, to fight against adharma, but not to use it against mortals. Okay. Now, he's in the battlefield. This Rajogun is all very much predominant in him. Now, suddenly, how will Arjun suppress this Rajogun? How will he suddenly stop all this activity and he claims that now I will become a sannyasi. Now I will become a renunciate. Anyone who has so much Rajogun in his nature cannot suddenly become a sattvic sannyasi and go and say, now I will sit in the forest and I will meditate and I will get self-realization. You have to first address this Rajogun which is in your Prakriti. So, this is the biggest flaw, what Bhagwan is trying to warn Arjun about. Now, not only Arjun, from this one sentence that vain is this resolve of yours, your nature will drive you to the act, what can we learn? All these tendencies are in us also, right? We are also born with tendencies which are predominantly sattvic or rajasic or tamasic, right? They take vas in us. They reside in us, these tendencies. And that is why they are called vasanas. Vasanas doesn't mean only desire. People have misunderstood the word vasana to mean lust. No, it doesn't just mean, may mean lust also because that's a tendency, but it means any sanskars that we are latently carrying with us from previous births, and this is embedded in us. These are impressions, these are sanskars that we are born with in our antakaran. And each one of us, even animals, will act according to our sanskars. We will act according to our swabhav. We will act according to our nature. A leopard cannot change his spots, but humans may be able to change it. And now these two shlokas are all about that. Are we able to change our prakriti, or are we determined, or are we destined to just follow the vasanas that we are born with? So we cannot suppress it. That is one thing. We cannot suppress our vasanas. We cannot suppress our nature. At some time or the other, these vasanas, these latent tendencies, these impressions are bound to erupt. See, it's like a wave. Think of a wave in an ocean. A wave has started rising out of the ocean. Now, can that wave suddenly decide that I don't want to rise? Now I should not rise. I must suppress it. The wave cannot stop itself from rising once it has started becoming a wave. It cannot die down by itself. It cannot say, no, 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 I don't want this movement. I don't want this rajas. I will remain placid. Satvikly, I will remain in the ocean. There is an entire current of energy below the surface of the ocean that is making that water rise, that is creating the wave, right? Once the action of the wave has started, it will just have to go through the whole motion of rising as a wave and then falling back into the ocean, right? In the same way, our vasanas also have their own energy. Once they are triggered, once they have arisen, they will express themselves. They will have to express themselves sooner or later. You may try to suppress them, you may try to control them, you may try to restrain them, but you may want to express, or you may even think, I don't want to express, but at some stage, it is going to get expressed. So if it has to get expressed, then it might as well get expressed in duties that are in sync with the vasanas. And that is the birth of the Varna system. Our vasanas are predominantly sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. Therefore, the rishis have said, if they are sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, these are the duties which, if you express them, you will be able to transcend these and then exhaust these vasanas which are inside you. So from where has this vasana come? This is our swabhav. And from where has this swabhav been created? It has been created by our own actions in the past, our good actions or our bad actions. Our good actions have created good swabhav. Swabhav is not always bad. Prakriti is not necessarily bad. Vasana is not necessarily bad. There can be good actions that have created good impressions, and not so good actions have created not so good impressions. And based on these tendencies which we are carrying with us, the Shastras recommend, prescribe certain duties that we have to perform in our current life. And if we perform those duties in our current life, we will be able to exhaust those impressions. We will be able to eradicate or make these impressions fade away. Depending on where, and we have free will. So either we follow the instructions of the Shastras and do the duties that are in sync with our vasanas, then we will experience happiness. But when we go contrary to the duties that are prescribed, it is possible that we will experience sorrow. So this experience of happiness and sorrow is in our own hands. So once these vasanas start rising in us, these tendencies start rising in us, they have a powerful energy, and we may try to suppress them by being aware of them. We may try to control them, but at any moment, there is a slight lack of vigilance, that vasana will definitely erupt. So let us understand this vasana business with some concrete examples, because it's always better to see it in a situation that is familiar to us. So let us suppose that somebody has a lot of rajogun in them. It is possible that this person may be a short-tempered person. He may be, very quick to lose his temper. This is a tendency. Okay, he's brought this tendency along with him from previous births. Now he will control this tendency of being short-tempered, maybe when he is in a social gathering. Maybe he will be able to suppress this tendency, maybe when he's in a satsang with his guru or with his guru bhais and guru bens. He may be able to control it when he's with his boss. But the minute he will come home and he is allowing himself to relax, you know what happens, right? He will simply erupt like a volcano and let loose his latent tendency of short-tempered anger on his family, on his spouse, on his children, right? It will explode. That tendency, that prakriti, that nature which is bubbling inside him, which is holding tight, not letting it be expressed, will express itself at some time or the other when there is a little leniency in his vigilance. Do you agree, or do you find some truth in this kind? And anger is just one example. It could be anything else. Okay, let's say a person is born with a latent tendencies of being a great sports person. So I said it's not always something bad. It could also be something good. So a person is born, he's got all this good uh, sanskars, impressions of being a good sports person. But somewhere along the way, as he's growing up, he has been made to understand that he needs a very stable job, which gives him financial security. And this sports thing, God knows whether it's going to be good for you or not. And he pushes himself to work in a very stable office, 9 to 5, pushing the pen and earning. Like, in the olden days, people say government job, government job. You should have a government job. There's a lot of security in government job. So he puts aside his sports personality, his sports tendencies, his good abilities, and he becomes a pen pusher in a government organization. Will he be happy there? There will always be a sense of lack, that a discontent. So neither he will enjoy the work that he's doing, neither will he be able to express his good ability as a sports person. At some stage, there will be a struggle, strife, and there will be a breakdown in his personality, right? So like that, whatever tendency you have, vain is your resolve. Bhagwan is warning Arjun, vain is your resolve. You will have to perform the act that you have resolved not to perform, right? Take another like, we are spiritual seekers. We are also grihastis. We are also householders. Now we attend satsang, and we know that you are supposed to attain moksha, and you should be keep growing and evolving as a spiritual seeker. Now you have duties as a grihastha. You have a home, you have a family, you have parents, you have children. So you have all these duties, but you say, no, I want to give myself a promotion. Now I'll no longer be a grihastha. I will become a sannyasi, and I will devote my life to attaining self-realization. That is my goal, and that is my focus now. It's my fast track to spirituality, because I have declared myself adhikari for this. So will this person who has renounced his duties for which he was born, which are his sanskars, he is not expressing them in the duties that have been prescribed by the Shastras, and he has decided to do somebody else's dharma, which is paradharma, not your swadharma. Is he going in the right direction? Will he or she attain that highest goal that he or she thinks he will attain? I think neither here nor there, none of the duties. Come back once again and start from point zero. So the Vedas give us a beautiful story, and it's a short story, so I will tell you. There is an elephant. Now the elephant is walking, and let's say he's walking westward. Okay, he's walking westward towards something, forest, mountain, something. On his back, on the elephant's back, is a small ant. Now the ant wants to go eastward, because there ant has seen some sugar there. He no longer wants to go westward with the elephant. He wants to go eastward. He is on the back of the elephant. The elephant is walking towards the west. that little ant starts walking eastward on the elephant's back. Is the little ant going to reach his destination that he thinks is the better destination? Because he's on the elephant's back and the elephant is going westward. Do you understand that? We are that little ant. We think this is priya to me, so I must go in this direction. But there is this great elephant of sanskars within us, which is taking us to the opposite direction. It is making us go, in spite of our resolve to go eastward, our elephant vasanas are taking us westward. Our swabhav will always take us in the direction in which it is predominantly got gunas. Identify with that. First, recognize that. Now, what to do about it? Because this is a given. So Bhagwan is telling us one more clue, not giving us the answer right yet. He's giving us another clue why we are not able to move from east to west. Let's go to Shlok 60. Let's read it. Very interesting. Svabhavajena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana kartum nechasi mohat karishyasya vashopitat. That action too, which you are not willing to undertake due to ignorance, you will perforce perform, bound by your own duty, born of your nature. It looks like Bhagwan is saying the same thing again in 60 as he has said in 59. Because as it is, I always told you, the first line is always going to be the same. What is that first line? Swabhava jena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana. Kaunteya means Arjun, son of Kunti. Our actions are swabhave jena. They are born out of our own swabhav. Our actions are born out of our own swabhav. But Bhagwan is giving us 2 or 3 new points here. See, in this very sentence, the action that we are born to perform according to our swabhav, nibaddha, binds us. We are bound to perform that action dictated by our swabhav. We are bound. We don't have that liberty to contradict our swabhav. Our swabhav is fixed. There are impressions on the beach made by footprints, and we are walking in those same footprints. Not only are we bound to our swabhav with our actions, but this binding to our swabhav is also binding us to repeated life and death. So that is our bondage. So one more point is there. This is causing our bondage. Then Bhagwan says, Kartum nechasi. These actions that we are bound to perform, that we have to perform because it is our swabhav, we do not particularly want to do those actions. See, our swabhav, our sanskars, our vasanas create our birth in a particular geographical, historical, environmental frame. They bring us to families, they bring us to situations where we will be able to express ourselves according to the prescription of the Vedas and transcend these vasanas. So they may bring us to families, they may bring us to situations, they may bring us to professions that we call our sandpaper. They bring us to family members that we consider our sandpapers. And we have to do our duty for those sandpapers. Therefore, Bhagwan says, Kartum nechasi, you have no ichha to do this duty for which you are bound by birth to do. How terrible. Then Bhagwan says, Karishyasi apitat. Now you are bound by this duty. You do not particularly want to do it. That is all the, the struggle that we feel and this kantala and grudge to do this. Why should I do this? They are like this, they are like that. Yeah, but you don't want to do it. But karishyasi apitat. You will definitely be doing that duty helplessly. You cannot avoid it. Even against your will, you will be doing that duty. 3 points. You are bounded to do it. You do not particularly want to do it, but you will helplessly be doing it. You cannot help it, but you will have to do it against your will. Doesn't sound very encouraging, does it? Sounds quite depressing. Let's understand it clearly. We take birth because of our vasanas, unfulfilled desires, latent tendencies. Now these vasanas are traveling with us from lifetime to lifetime in our subtle body, right? In our antakaran. They are living in us, in our antakaran. They are taking vas in us. They are residing in us. Therefore, we are calling them vasanas. Carried over vasanas are the very reason why we keep taking birth again and again in sansar. This is the reason of our rebirth. Why we are not getting moksha? Because those vasanas are there. They are the reason that we are taking birth again and again. And we are storing all these vasanas inside. And we are living according to our vasanas. The vasanas are dictating our actions. We can call it our vasana deposit. This vasana deposit stored in us is fueling our actions. It's taking us in different directions and making us do certain actions. If you'll go back to Adhyay 5, in Shlok 14, Bhagwan uses one word, Swabhavastu pravartate. Nature alone is making us do what we are doing. Go back to 5:14 and you will find this shloka. The nature itself is doing all our actions. We think the body is doing, we think the mind is doing. No, this vasana is doing. This vasana is creating all this action that we are doing in the world. So now, a very important question arises. Are we just puppets that we have to just, whatever this vasana is, whatever this prakriti is, whatever this swabhav is, then we will just do that action? Can we not control this nature? Can we not suppress this nature? Can we not restrain this nature? Bhagwan asks you the same question. Go to Adhyay 3, Shlok 33. Bhagwan says, all living creatures follow their tendencies. Even the wise man acts according to the tendencies of his own nature. Of what use is restraint by force? Nigraha kim karishyati. What is the point that you are trying to control it? Every creature in the entire universe is acting according to his latent tendencies. So now this is very good. Then the murderer will say, my tendency is to murder, so I can't help it. I have to murder. Rapist will say the same thing. Terrorist will say the same thing. Are we just going to do actions and not rise above our tendencies of past births? So Bhagwan is clearing that misconception. Point is, we cannot control the vasanas, because remember the wave, it cannot suddenly say, I'm going to not rise out of the ocean anymore. You cannot control it. Neither can you suppress it. Then what do we have to do? We have to transcend it. Okay. So, of course, we all want to transcend it, but how? That is the secret. How to transcend this energetic vasana, this energetic impression, our own prakriti, our own swabhav. So far, how have we tried to transcend it? We have used our senses, all our 10 indriyas. We have used our body, we have used our mind, we have used our intellect, we have used all these, but have we been successful in transcending all our latent swabhav? Let's see. Senses. Suppose you have a tendency, a great desire, a soft spot, you can say, for eating some particular food, chocolate or vada pav or whatever your pizza, whatever. Suppose you have a tendency that you have this, you must have this. Without this, your meal is not complete or you don't feel satisfied. So what do? We use our senses, okay? Close eyes. Don't bring it in front of my eyes. Don't bring it in the house. If I don't see it, this vasana will not rise. Or if you don't cook it when I'm there, that smell will not come. So you use your senses. You try to overcome it by your senses. But in your entire life, you will not see it. In your entire life, you will not smell it. In your entire life, you will not taste it. Not possible. So this, till you suppress it for a while, your senses will work for you. But not when you are little bit out of alertness. So senses doesn't always, and you have tried it. Has it worked? You can think about that. Or your mind, for example, our emotions, because we use our emotions to shirk our duty. We have latent tendency of, moha. We have moha attachment for our family. We have moha attachment for our friends. And take Arjun's example. He had moha for his friends and family. So he said, no, I cannot do my Kshatriya dharma. I give up my Kshatriya dharma. And I'm afraid, I'm indignant also. I'm very righteous person also. So I will not do. This mind cannot be relied on to overcome your vasanas. Why? Because mind keeps fluctuating. Mind is like a chanchal monkey. Mind will sometimes make a sankalp and immediately it will go into vikalp. Sankalp, vikalp, sankalp, vikalp. It's fickle. Therefore, mind cannot ever control this massive, powerful energy called vasana. The mind is useless. What about intellect? Intellect we use. Little bit of vivek we have, little bit of understanding we have, and we use our intellect. I should not be angry. I should not be greedy. I should not be hypocritical. I should not be sarcastic. I should give up this bad habit. It's not good for me. And we are very good at preaching this to others also. But when it comes to our own self, it doesn't always work. It may work sometimes. And if it is done in the right way, it will work. It will work done in the right way, but not always, because intellect is working on willpower. And willpower is probably 1 week old, or willpower is probably 1 month old, or willpower is probably 1 year old. But these vasanas are coming from God knows how many previous lifetimes. Its energy is much stronger than our willpower. Therefore, it will require a lot of tapasya along with the willpower to overcome these vasanas. So how is it that mind is also not saksham? Mind is also not adequate to overcome the vasanas. Senses are also not enough. Intellect is also not enough. Why is it that these senses, body, mind, intellect are not able to transcend vasanas. Why? Very simple. And once you understand that, it becomes very easy. You see, body, meaning senses, mind, intellect, they themselves are bound by nature. They themselves are made from Prakriti. They themselves are not free. They are also bound in the same scope as what you're trying to free yourself from. You cannot attain that these instruments are not the right instruments for attaining freedom. Why not attaining freedom? Because they're limited in their scope of functioning. See, you have a mobile phone. Okay, it's a great technological invention. It can make you see things from far. It can make you hear things from far. It can transport you visually, audibly in any part of the world. However, it is limited in its function. You cannot smell anything through a mobile, right? You cannot taste anything with a mobile. You cannot smell anything with a mobile. You cannot touch anything far away from a mobile. This is the scope of the mobile phone. Similarly, the body, the senses, the mind, the intellect has a scope of functioning. And freeing yourself from vasanas is beyond the scope of BMI, right? This body mind is all programmed to function up to a level. And self-realization or destruction of vasanas is not in their job description. Therefore, all the effort we are making of overcoming our vasanas through our senses, through our body, through our mind, through our intellect is a big struggle, and you know it. You know the struggle. You have experienced the struggle. So if not BMI, then what other instrument do I have? Because BMI is a slave of Prakriti itself, and a slave cannot liberate another slave. So, what can liberate us? Bhagwan is not going to give you the message here, okay? But you can understand why you are not able to transcend. What can help you transcend? One, the knowledge, the nishtha, the knowledge. I am not this body. I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am not the senses. This knowledge, if it is pakka, with good nishtha, if you have understood it perfectly, this knowledge can liberate you from your vasanas. The knowledge that my current understanding of who I am, this I, which I say I, this is my current understanding of I is I am this body, I am this person, I am this mother, father, I am this doctor, engineer. This current understanding of I is just my limited ego. This is just my limited sense of self, and is also limiting me, is limiting and limited this ego. This is my false identity. This knowledge made pakka can liberate you from your vasanas. And once you're liberated from your vasanas, you're liberated from repeated cycles of life and death. So you'll say, how? What shall I do once I have this understanding that I am not this body? Once I understand that I am not this false ego, then what should I do? Separate yourself from it. Distangle yourself. Disassociate yourself. Disengage yourself from this concept that I am body, mind, and intellect. How can I disengage? How can I separate myself from this lower self, which we call ego, by attaching to a higher self. To disengage, to detach from the lower, you need to attach to the higher. Attach to the higher means what? Surrender to the higher. Bhagwan is saying it again and again and again. And we have to get it once and for all. How to dissociate from the ego? Simple. Complete surrender to the higher self. Then the question comes, what do I have to do to surrender completely to the higher self? What do I have to do? Do you see what's come back into the picture? The doer, the ahankar, the karta. What do I have to do to surrender? What a ridiculous question. Surrender does not happen by doing anything. We do this, we do that, we do this, we do that, and we think we are great sadhaks because we do so much. Everyone asks for sadhana. What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? Your ego is talking. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing that. Surrendering doesn't happen by doing anything. Can please put your audio on mute? Thank you. So, doing something to get a result. See, you're doing some sadhana to get a result. What result you want? Surrendering. You're doing something to get a result. This is the job of the ego. It is not going to destroy the ego. It is only going to boost the ego, that I do this sadhana and I do that sadhana. So then how do I surrender? What is the technology? What is the technique? What is the sadhana? What do I have to do? And I have always been saying for the last 15 to 20 years, the spiritual journey is not about doing anything. It is only about undoing everything that has made you this limited ego. Now, what is the technique? Next time. Next time. Up till now, just see how this applies to you. What you have been doing, how you have been becoming, how you have become the doer, and how this doership has limited yourself and is creating more bondage in your spiritual journey. Okay, I know this was a little bit too much maybe for you to digest. Slowly, slowly. Take small bites and see if you can digest something. And next Thursday, don't forget, Bhagwan is giving you the secret. Oh. 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 Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Chidarpana. Jai Gurudev.